welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game. Today we're going to be talking about all of the Stoicheia support in Set 1 of Vanguard Overdress. But before we get started, two things. One, if you haven't seen the previous videos in this set review, Epoch, Saga, there's a lot of videos here. You can find the Overdress playlist in the top right hand corner, a bit over that way. You'll see the card. Go check it out. I've got loads of other reviews there. Also, note, I am incredibly biased, so I may be overrating Zorga. I don't know. It's kind of the only thing I care about in this set. So, yeah, fair warning there, I might be a little bit overly kind to Zorga. I figured you should know up front. Let's get started. First, we've got Dream Gnawing. This is the starter. No one cares, but it is very fat, and that makes for entertaining jokes that will definitely not get old fast. Rancor Chain. So we're starting with the ride line for Zorga, and then we're going to move on to the loader high rarity support. Once per turn, act on Vanguard Circle. Soul Blast 1. Draw 2 cards. Choose up to 1 order card from your hand. Discard it. If you did not discard it, choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. And continues on rear. If you play an order this turn, this gets plus 2k power. So, this is obviously absolutely staple in the ride deck. This is a really hard plus. It's a really good... especially compared with the grade 2, you're not negging off this at all. So yeah, this is obviously very staple. In the main deck, it's a conditional 10k booster, so there isn't really much reason to play it over the actual 10k booster, so I suppose you just play the actual 10k booster. But in the ride deck, this is absolutely staple. Next, we've got Black Tears Husk Dragon. When this is placed on Vanguard Circle, choose up to 1 normal order from your drop and put it in your hand. Again, absolutely staple. It's just going to get right back what you discarded. Just get it right back. It's like it never even left. And if you played an order this turn, it gets 5k. So this is going to be your 15k rear. That plus 5k is very nice. It's going to be really, really essential to you actually hitting these threatening numbers, which is pretty important. Onto the big boy of this deck, Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga. Continues on Van. If you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name from your drop and AiboMagic. So it says combine the costs and add the effect to the back. That is the worst phrasing of anything I have ever seen ever. All you do is you take the first thing you cast and you take the thing you bound and you go cost of the first thing, cost of the bound thing, effect of the first thing, effect of the bound thing. Very simple, very easy. Don't know what the fuck they were thinking with add the effects to the back. It's not cute, it's stupid. There's another error here, which I'll get to in the Stoicheia bits, which really makes you feel like they clocked out at this point, but anyway. Vanguard Circle, act once per turn. Counterblast 1, choose a card from your drop zone and call it to rear. This is very nice. One issue is you kind of end up starting to need like 2 counterblasts per turn. It's all a little bit constrictive. Constrictive. Anyway, it's a little bit tight, but it's a really nice skill. Just being able to constantly revive something is really, really nice. And yeah, like the whole point of this card is the utility that comes with the orders. So in and of itself, it's nothing super special, but the fact that it lets you double your order count and then lets you toolbox your drop for orders, for like anything. It's very, very solid, and of all the decks in Set 1, I think this has the most potential to be good into the future. Like, in 3 years, I could imagine Zorga still existing in the format. I think it's unlikely that, for example, Orfist will still exist in the format. But I think Zorga is a deck that's so easy. Orfist perhaps wasn't the best example, but anyway, I think Zorga is so easy to keep relevant, like even when they want to rotate out into something else, unless they just stop giving Stoicheia orders, it'll probably be relevant. Anyway, on to the triggers. These are just the triggers. Keep in mind that you can only play up to 8 of a given type at the moment. Booba. Sorry. On to the commons. So starting off with orders, Tearing Malice, not Tearing Malice. Play this with cost retire 2 rears, so a pretty hefty cost. Draw a card, put this into your assault, and countercharge 1. So this is essentially something you play just to like get back some advantage. You may find yourself needing to do this fairly often. It's really not that bad though, because you do this and you AiboMagic. So what happens when you AiboMagic is if you AiboMagic for the revive, order, who we'll talk about in a little bit, which is just the normal revive one, that Soul Blast one. So this goes into Soul, you Soul Blast it out. Well, you need to have something there anyway. But anyway, you'll be Soul Blast something else out, but the Soul will remain the same. You will lose 2 rear guards, but you'll revive one. It'll get 5k. You'll countercharge one, and you'll draw a card. So the stuff you lost from board, you will immediately get back. And then you can also just use that counterblast immediately with Zorga to get back the other thing. So that's just something you can do, just to go a small little bit of plus very easily, and potentially trigger any on summon to rear abilities that you have, which there are quite a few, but one in particular that's really, really nice to just do that with, because it'll buff your numbers up big time. It's a very nice little combo. And that's just one example. I'm not going to give all of them, but that's the reason why Zorga is nice, basically. This is also quite nice in Magnolia, because that deck really does struggle for advantage, just to pay all its costs. So having access to this can be quite good, just to go, oh, give me countercharge, give me soul. Yes, please. Next, we've got Ghost Chase. This is one of the absolute most important orders in making Zorga good. It's less good in Magnolia. It's still decent in Magnolia, but the reason it's so it's still decent, but like the reason it's so good in Zorga is because Zorga can revive anything. You always have that live. Your counterblast one to just give you something. So what this means with Ghost Chase is you can counterblast one to revive your Overtrigger if you have drawn it or something. Or you can counterblast one to revive your Perfect Guard, and then you can Ghost Chase to add it right back to your hand. So pretty easy, very, very nice skill there, very solid. Yeah, really, really good in Zorga, not so good in Magnolia, but yeah, in Zorga, pretty cracked. Next, we've got Sealed Road. Play this with the cost of Counterblast 2. Choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and that unit gets -1 crit until the end of that battle. His card is okay, but I don't see either of the decks having anywhere near enough Counterblast to actually do this. Collusion, Mutant, add Mantis. When this is placed on rear, choose one of your other rear guards and it gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. So this is like an okay card normally. This is really, really nice in Zorga though, because you can spam revive it. And an example with that first order is, for example, if you add 2 of these, you can retire both of them and then revive both of them, and you'll get 10k to something, and then plus an additional 5k to one of them from that revive order, and suddenly that's 15k just sort of manufactured, which is, you know, 3 cards you're ripping from your opponent's hand, which is pretty good, or at least 2 if they trigger and something else. So, you know, it's really solid. Yeah, this card is very, very, very essential in Zorga. Less good in Magnolia though. It's still okay, but yeah. Gloomy Tour, this is your 10k booster. It is guaranteed to be 10k booster, so I feel like you play this over Rancor Chain in the main. In Zorga. Hydraulic Ram Dragon, 10k in Magnolia. Again, because Magnolia wants to be attacking from the back row, it's like these kind of boosters are less valuable. They're still nice, but you want to be playing a lot more grade 2s in that deck. Hydraulic Ram Dragon. Auto on rear, when this attacks a Vanguard, if your bind zone has an order card, this gets plus 5k until the end of that battle. So this is, again, specifically Zorga support. This is quite nice. It is instantly 18k on its own. If you combine that with a 10k booster, which you should have, well, if you either have a 10k booster, and that will make this 28k, which is a nice number, or if you just want to leave it unboosted and you can play your Mantis, for example, then this will be 23k on its own, which is obviously very nice. So this is a pretty decent support piece. It's nothing like super special though, so whether it's worth losing guarding potential to this card is sort of up for debate. Noble of Wisdom Edgar, when this attacks, counterblast 1, and this unit gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. Again, you could play this, but I feel like both Zorga and Magnolia really don't want to be using the resources for it. So it seems like, again, a pretty weak card. Spiritual Body Condensation. Play this with cost of Soul Blast 1. Sorry about that. Play this with the cost of Soul Blast 1. Choose a card with grade equal to or less than your Vanguard from your drop. Call it to rear, and it gets plus 5k until the end of the turn. This is really nice in both decks. Just being able to just Soul Blast 1, get a unit back, and it gains 5k is really, really nice. It lets you toolbox your whole drop. This is going to be very strong in both Magnolia and Zorga. Particularly Zorga, but still really nice in Magnolia. Grief, Despair, and Rejection. Play this with cost of Counterblast 1. If your Vanguard is Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, choose 3 of your units to get plus 10k until the end of the turn. This is mandatory in Zorga for you to have any offensive potential. But yeah, if you get this every single turn, Zorga is a beast. It's not too difficult to get this every single turn because you only really need to see it once every 2 turns because you can just bind it for the off turns when you don't have it in hand. Yeah, this is absolutely essential to the deck putting out pressure, but it puts out a lot of pressure when you do see this. Really, really essential card. The Cursed Soul wriggles in agony. Players with the cost of Soul Blast 2. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose up to one unit card from among them, call it to rear circle, and discard the rest. If this is Alchemagic, call up to 2 cards to rear circle instead of 1, and all units called with the order get plus 5k until the end of the turn. This is kind of unplayable if you play like the Soul Blast 2, because it's a really hefty cost. The combo uses with the double rare, which will make this cost nothing. So you want in Zorga, you want to play this at lower counts, and you want to you basically want to get it in drop. You want to like discard it early, ideally, or discard it for ride deck or something. So it's just there in your discard. So then you can just Alchemagic it to just make a board, and you don't have to pay for it, which is quite nice. You can also mill it with that same double rare. In Magnolia, again, this is also a lot less good because Soul is a very precious resource, and you do not want to be using 2 of it to just check top 4 for one thing and give it 5k. Absolutely not. Yeah. Planar Prevent Dragon. This is strictly better than the starter deck PG, so you'll be playing this over the starter deck PG. Sylvan Horned Beast Aleo. Act on rear. Retire this unit, choose 2 of your units, and they get plus 5k until the end of the turn. This is quite nice. You can just basically use this to convert, like, you can convert it into spreading it out over 2 things. So if you've got the hand to support, like, doing this multiple times, like if you've got the hand to support doing this, then that's ideal because then you can buff stuff up. Something you could very easily do is have this on board, retire it, give 2 things 5k, use your and then you can like use your Soul Blast order to bring it back, and then this will be 15k. And at that point, then you could, if you wanted to, retire it again, give 2 other things 10k, and then just call something else from hand, which could be nice. There are options with it, but this is just a nice card to buff stuff up, and that's really needed because Magnolia does not hit numbers, and it's going to be very valuable to just add 5k to 2 different things so they can actually hit. That's pretty valuable. The Overtrigger, I have said my piece on Overtriggers, I'm not going to drone on, but one thing I will say is they have the audacity, right? All your front row units get plus 10k. Nowhere on the card does it say the duration of this, so everyone would think, you know, oh, so it's indefinite until those front rows are gone. Apparently, it's for the phrasing. Fuck off, Bushiroad, just say you made a mistake and errata the card. I don't know what these clowns are talking about, but yeah. There is an error on this card. It is not indefinite. It's a lot better if it's indefinite. It's actually pretty ridiculously good if it's indefinite because then you're permanently 23k on your Vanguard if you check this once you ride up to grade 3, which is kind of silly. So yeah, that's important to keep in mind. I just figured I should mention that because there's no way you would look at this card and immediately think, oh, that must be because they wanted to phrase it to be exciting. Next, we've got Spurring Maiden Elenia. When this unit is placed on rear Saga from hand, cost can +1, Soul +1, choose a grade 2 or less card from your drop, call to rear, and it gets 5k until the end of the turn. This is very nice in Magnolia because you are, you know, it's not too expensive. You can probably manage, like, that's a reasonable use of your resources. Calling something, giving it 5k, you're getting this on board as well. It's just quite good. This is reasonable. Though, again, it's still... it is still fairly expensive, but it's just about manageable. No point playing this in Zorga. You have way better ways of reviving stuff in Zorga. Inheritance Maiden Hendrina, staple in Zorga at least 2 to 3. Once placed on rear, you may mill 3 and act on rear. Cost, retire this unit until the end of the turn. The next time when you play an order as Alchemagic, you do not have to pay any Soul Blasts from that cost. So it's all the Alchemagic used just becomes free for Soul Blast costs. So this can basically let you potentially get just 3 cards for free, which can be quite nice. 2 from the top 4 and then 1 from your drop. Or more frequently, you're able to pay like the 1 soul costs most of the time, but frequently the 2 soul is too expensive. So you'll use this. You'll get 2 things and you'll give 30k to board, and that's typically the way this will be used. So it's a card that you want to have access to, but you don't necessarily want to play it at too high counts. And finally, Sylvan Horned Beast Nosler. Auto on the back row. When this unit attacks, cost counterblast 1, choose one of your other rear guards, and it gets this unit's power until the end of the turn. So this is actually a very cool card, and it's something that's going to scale really well into the future with Magnolia. This is one of the cards where it's like, okay, Magnolia could be quite good. At the moment, it really doesn't feel like it. But, you know, if you can... sorry, I have no idea what's going on with my voice. If you have 2 of these in your back row, and your Magnolia is able to restand all of them, and you can buff these up by like 10k, 15k, when you swing with these, you're then going to buff up your front row by 10k and 15k. And those kind of numbers are actually going to be very threatening to the opponent, and that is going to turn Magnolia into something very, very scary. However, other than that, Magnolia is... let's get into the wrap-up. I don't think Magnolia is too good, lads. I'm going to be honest. Granted, I haven't tested it quite as much as I want to be very, very secure in that conclusion. But I would say I'm like 60% of the way to going like, yeah, I don't think this is too good. From the gameplay I've seen and from the limited testing I've done, Magnolia seems very mid. It's like very okay. It just struggles with resources a bit too much, and it seems like it should be just an aggro deck, but it's kind of not. And I don't know, at the moment the support just doesn't feel there for me. I think Festival Collection and Set 2 are definitely going to be very important, because it seems to, I don't know, it seems clear to me in Set 1 like who the winners were and who the losers were, and the winners kind of got everything they really needed, and the losers have these very, very obvious holes that need to be plugged. And yeah, Magnolia definitely feels like it has some holes that need to be plugged. Just some resource gain, really, and then it kind of will start popping off. Like, if they got a grade 1 that was like, when this unit boosts, countercharge 1, put this unit into the soul, and give 5k to something else, I'd be like, well, there you go, Magnolia is good. That would be like the kind of thing that just lets it do everything it needs to do very consistently. At the moment, they don't have anything like that, so... when they do, though, and that could very well be the Festival Collection card, for example, then this deck will be scary. But at the moment, I don't think Magnolia is too strong. Zorga, I think, is certainly top 5, potentially top 3. It's tested very well. It's very good. It's very good. But it is a deck where, like, you know, as far as Vanguard goes, and certainly as far as Overdress goes with one set of support, it's definitely like one of the most difficult decks to build and play. Again, it's set 1 Vanguard, so it's not that difficult or anything, but I'm just saying, relatively speaking, it's one of the more difficult ones to play and build. I've certainly seen a lot of people who cannot build and play it, so there's that. But I think if you start piloting it with even a reasonable degree of proficiency, it's very solid. It's very, very solid. It gets the job done. It works. It just works. And it works very well. But there we go, that's it. I hope you guys found the video useful today. If you did, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more Vanguard content, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're interested in Gate Ruler, you can check out my videos on that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.